What is up YouTube, and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. Mordekaiser has just been released and there are a few things we need to talk about. Let's start with the ability rundown on Mordekaiser and let's tell you everything you need to know to understand this champion on a level that makes you the best Mordekaiser in WildRift. So let's start with the abilities. First up, his passive. It's an essay, by the way. Darkness Rise. You gain percentage magic pen, which scales per level up to 7%. You start with a 1%, and your attacks deal 40% bonus magic damage. That's a lie, though, I'll tell you about a little bit later. When Mordekaiser gets a takedown on his basic abilities or attacks hit an enemy champion or large monster, he gains 1 stack of Darkness Rise for 5 seconds. At 3 stacks, he cloaks himself in a negative energy field. The negative energy field deals magic damage equal to 5, which also scales per level, plus 1% of the enemy target's max health, which also scales per level, up to 5% of the enemy's maximum HP per second, and you granted movement speed, which also scales per level, for 5 seconds. Takedowns and basic ability or attacks, enemy champions or large monsters refresh the negative energy shield's duration. Darkness Rise also deals a maximum amount of damage against monsters per second. But let's take a look at leveling. You give yourself a few levels. You see that these numbers go up. You're on 3% right now, then you have a flat of 9, 3% here, 6% there, and a 62 cap. So let's go up to the highest level really quickly here. So right now, we have 7% pen, still 40% magic damage as a bonus on hit, 12 flat damage, plus 5% of your maximum enemy HP, and 9% bonus movement speed with a cap of 100 against monsters. So let's give myself just some raw AP items. It doesn't matter what they are, if they're good or bad, it really doesn't. We just go for some AP, do an auto attack, and now it suddenly works. So the question is my damage, is it actually meant that it doesn't deal 40% bonus magic damage, but it deals 40% of my AP as magic damage? Because then it would make sense, but then the description might be a little bit off. So if we have, how many books can we buy? We can buy 5 books. 5 books are 129. Why are they 129? Because Gathering Storm popped. Okay, makes sense. So 40% of that one. Let's see if we get reasonably close. That's reasonably close. So it is not 40% bonus damage. It is 40% of your AP that deals the damage. So the more AP you have, the more damage your auto attacks deal, which means if you have a full tank build, like right now, just with players' caps, you see, only the Conqueror is stacking up, granting myself more AP and therefore more damage, and without the Conqueror it doesn't do anything. So I in fact need to have AP for it to be converted into bonus damage. So now we've lifted the secret of Mordekaiser Passive. It is not attack deal 40% bonus magic damage, it's 40% of your AP that is added onto your auto attacks. So it's basically like a Nash's Tooth but with 40%. Okay. Let's move over to the next thing, the first ability, Obliterate. Oh, well, I need to show you the little circle thing. This is the passive. You see, it's an area that deals damage, it refreshes over time. I'll timestamp this properly so you don't have to worry about, okay? It deals AoE damage to all the other people. It reapplies effects such as... Where do we have it? Leandris and Rylais. Where is Rylais here? These effects will be reapplied constantly with the spinning circle. What doesn't work though is, I'll show you that with another little enemy dummy. So take a good look how I stack this on this one. Then I walk up here and you see it's constantly applied here. And then it stops, and it deals damage over time. Okay, but there's one little thing where it doesn't work. See, it isn't applied. Only the auto attacks on that one would apply this effect. So yeah, Searing Crown is bugged on Mordekaiser. It doesn't work, or it's not intended to work. Let me pull this one in here so it stops yapping. And we go back to the skills. Obliterate. Smashes the ground with Nightfall, which is your club, by the way, to deal 241 magic damage. It's 90 flat, obviously it scales per level, and does 60... No, it doesn't scale per level. Oh, wait, no, it does. And does 60% of your AP. Damage is increased by 60% when the ability only hits one enemy. Leveling it increases the bonus damage, the bonus 80 ratio. 80 ratio? What 80 ratio? Bonus 80 ratio? Excuse me? Right? Hold up, it says bonus 80 ratio, but only has an AP ratio. Huh? $200. Let Conqueror run out so we can see the true number. 200. Okay, so we found another bug or another issue with the spell description. The first ability is straight up wrong. It doesn't have a bonus AD ratio, but a bonus AP ratio. So in fact, it doesn't scale per level, but it does scale per point investment for AP. Second ability, Indestructible. The passive stores 35% of the magic damage he deals and 7% of the damage he takes. Against non-champions, he stores 25% of the damage dealt and taken instead. The active portion is gains the stored damage as a shield for 4 seconds. Recasting Indestructible restores 42% of the remaining shield as health. Minimum shield is 5%, maximum shield is 30%, and what you gain per point investment is from 11 seconds cooldown to 8 seconds cooldown, and from 35% heal to 42% healing. The key thing about this one is, the cooldown only starts going down once it's reactivated, like now. And then you see that the full cooldown duration is still being applied. When I instantly tap it, like here, you see it's immediately on the same cooldown. So the only difference it makes is you can hold the shield for longer and see that the enemy can maybe break through it. Because you obviously lose some of the shielding value if you turn into healing. Third ability, Death's Grasp. Pulls an enemy towards him, dealing 136 magic damage. As you see, the flat portion plus the magic damage, the base portion is scaling. With point investment, the AP scaling is not. And slowing enemies by 30% for 1 second. The cooldown goes down from 16 to 10 with a full point investment, and the base damage from 70 to 130. But the ability, compared to the PC version, doesn't feature the magic pen, because the magic pen is on your passive, as I said earlier, 1 to 7%. So this ability here, you can pull things around and enjoy your time with it. Also pretty cool for good damage. And the next ability we have at hand is going to be our ultimate ability, the Realm of Death. Banishes an enemy champion into the Death Realm with him for 7 seconds. During this period, steals 8% of the target's core stats, which is AP, AD, attack speed, armor, magic resistance, and max HP. If Mordekaiser takes on the target, he keeps the stolen stats until the target respawns. If he doesn't, the stolen stats are returned once the ability ends. Leveling up this ability only decreases the cooldown by 10 seconds per rank investment. So the question is, do you really want to invest more points into this? Or do you rather want to have points into your other abilities? But looking at the other abilities you have, it's a big question because they don't look as appealing as, for example, for other champions. But let's take a look at how it looks. Can I even ult this? Now I'm in the basement. Vindy, hello, are you here? And nobody can interfere with you within this. And it's basically a deathmatch against each other. So what are the things we can do with Mordekaiser? So let's go on 0 cooldown and let's talk about the combos we can do. We can do flash Q forward. We can do... Is this possible? Doesn't look like it. No, it's not possible. You can only leave it behind. But yeah, you can Q flash. Your ultimate flash doesn't really necessarily work well because, I mean, what are you supposed to do? You you know... You just ult flash forward, and then what? Funnily enough, champions that should be immune against CC, like for example Malphite during ultimate, or Ornette presses W as you lift your arm, or Fiora with a W, should be able to block your ultimate. Like Fiora should be able to block this as you lift your mace to pull her in. She can block it with riposte. And I'm pretty certain QSS also blocks this, but I'm not certain about QSS interaction once you're already inside the basement. For flash combos, there's not much to do apart from Q flash, since these ones don't really work. Nothing really to interact. I can't really target this one with my icons, because there is no portrait blocking here. But yeah. For summoner spells, Mordekaiser is going to be a champion that requires you to stay close to the enemy. Like you see, like this here is very important that you get this stacked and then stay very close, okay? And to make sure you can do this, Ghost will just be super helpful. Because then a lot of your damage that you're dealing to a lot of people around you will just be happening passively. And with that done, you basically increase your impact in teamfights by a lot. Like just alone when you think about having Liandry's Torment, since your passive is going to be active for 5 seconds, if you just take a good look here, like everyone in here will have Liandry's constantly applied to them, and even if they leave it immediately, just tapping them once with Liandry's is enough to deal 3 seconds of bonus damage to them through Liandry's, and if they stay inside they take even more damage. It just depends on what items you can go for and how many slots you have available. Now let's talk for runes, at least for the top lane. Okay, there are a few approaches you can go for. You could either go for the full resolve tree, or you go for this kind of typical top lane setup. You have Conqueror, that grants you nice Omnivamp, nice AP, Gathering Storm, Giant Slayer, Legend Alacrity to just give you faster auto attacks, or Legend Tenacity. I don't think Bloodline works too well since it's supposed to be damage AoE. But also for the next tree, you need to have Second Wind. You're a melee champion in top lane. Without Second Wind, life is going to be a lot worse, so you really don't want to have that happen to you. Okay, for the items. For top lane. Starting with this would be almost a death sentence to you, right? This is going to be too tough for you to survive with, because having this just makes you too vulnerable. So for top lane, most of the time, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with Ruby Crystal. From Ruby Crystal, you will then transition into either Plated Steel Caps or Mercs, depending on what you need against a certain champion. And now we need to talk about the following issues facing top lane champions. If you're facing Divine Sunrise champions, I don't think your champion can win. The item itself is too powerful and it's just too much for you to deal with. So what can you do about other champions that are, for example, Divine Sunrise champions? You basically have to take the bad thing and take Bramblebest, and then hope that you will deal enough damage. But your champion, from my perspective so far, it's a champion that you want to pick into tanks, because your passive does percentage max HP damage, and that allows you to as well then invest into 2 different items that make your life a lot easier. Number 1, you have Heartsteel. Heartsteel against tanks will allow you to grow even tankier, and therefore just take over the mid and late game against the other champions because you're too tanky to be killed fast enough. Now, another item you definitely want to have on this champion is going to be Riftmaker. Riftmaker will add a lot of extra damage to the AoE burn of your champion, making him even stronger. Now, the next thing we need to talk about is having Liandry's Torment on our build, since Searing Crown doesn't function. If Searing Crown functioned into full AD teams, we would obviously go for Searing Crown, but Searing Crown doesn't work. So we have to just be like, okay, can we afford to have a Liandry's in our build? And does it work? And the next thing is, do we really want to invest gold for this item here? Because the item doesn't even give us percentage pen, whereas all the other magic items grant us percentage pen, but Rylai's doesn't. So the question is, do we need this item if you already play with Ghost? I assume, this is only an assumption, we can skip this one with Ghost and focus on a more damage-oriented build with, for example, Liandry. But now we have the next slot issue, because if you want the maximum AP damage, you obviously want to have Rabadon's Death Cap, right? Because with Rabadon's Death Cap, your damage skyrockets, right? You go from your 441 AP and you went from 204, that's more than double your AP. So that the burn of your Liandry is also very much amplified. Now the thing is, this champion also really likes this one, because you're constantly taking damage. This item will make you even tankier. So you definitely want to have this item in your build, but then you have the next following issue. Do you really want to drop Amaranth Twin Guard? So you again are facing a kind of a slot issue. Against tanks, I think it's a no-brainer to just go Heartsteel because you just get so many stacks for free. And then you have Riftmaker. So the real item you can potentially drop might be Liandry's Torment because you already have enough burn of your passive in general, looking at the numbers. But the thing is, it's a decision you have to make. Do you want to have Rabadons? Do you want to have another tank item? Because your champion is functional on lower damage items because all you need to do is stay close and deal enough damage to kill them, because in many games you'll be forced actually to have a Thornmail, because you will have to deal with a lot of auto attackers hitting you and just surviving. And Heartsteel will allow you to at least inflate your HP pool, and by inflating your HP pool, you make it a lot harder for the enemy to achieve anything, and as long as you have uptime on them with, for example, Ghost, it becomes well and impossible for them to achieve something against you. So, for now, for top lane, I can pretty much certainly say that Heartsteel in tank games will be the item to go. I don't know if you can actually deal with top lane bruisers that go Divine. I haven't had the experience yet, but you will definitely want to have plated steel caps into them, then probably have an accelerated little Bramble Vest, and then hope that your base damages are going to carry you, and then you invest into AP items. But the issue is, as we said earlier, if you don't have any AP, like only 40 AP from Gathering Storm, you see, you will only deal damage based on, unfortunately, the AP you have. So 40 AP, funnily enough, it doesn't seem to be reduced. It doesn't seem to be reduced by magic resist. That's the funny thing. Anyway, so we have settled build. The build problems, what we can do, Bramble Vest into these, and then we can debate going into other items like, for example, Riftmaker. But yeah, I don't think your champion is fundamentally designed to deal well into Bruiser champions with Divine, so it's more about tank champions. For jungle, we have another issue. For jungle, we'll be running either Flash and Ghost, either Flash and Smite or Ghost and Smite. And then we have to talk about items. What items do we want to go for in the jungle? Mordor was infamous on PC to have Nash's Tooth, just in general in his build because it was such a good item. But is it possible in WildRift to have enough uptime for it to be worth it? Or do we just go for other items? For jungle, we can debate going for still a tanky itemization. We start with, for example, plated steel caps or mercs. Just anything to make us tanky and make us survive. But then the next question is, what other items can we actually go for? We have, for example, Riftmaker. Riftmaker is a very broken item, same for Toplane. But again, for our farming adventures, this item might be a lot better, but the issue is we are very vulnerable. We are very, very weak with that one, and we take a lot of damage. Also, Mordekaiser Passive in the early game is very, very weak and requires us to have, well, quite a lot of extra AP, extra sources to actually deal with these camps, because our damage to monsters is capped, and therefore the attack speed from Nash's can actually make a big difference. Following with this issue in mind, we still need to think about the issue of sticking to people. Is Rylai's even a good option? Do we really need it? And do we want Liandry because it just does so much extra damage from like with our champion and its fundamental design? Or do we need to invest into tankier items? So even if we have like a complete cookie cutter AP build that is completely crazy, which you shouldn't probably do so, because why would you do so? Your champion is not really the tankiest of them all. Like with these items, you have 2.8k HP, 644 ability power, but you have no resistances, therefore you just die instantly. Even in jungle for now, I honestly would just go with the default build. You can definitely test it, but this is more than experimental, okay? Because I don't think Mordekaiser in its current form is very good in the jungle. He will most probably get a buff because the champion doesn't seem as broken as other champions. People will just pick him every game, therefore his win rate will be low, and then Riot will be like, oh well, we need to buff him, and then suddenly he's not only a matchup, like he's not a matchup dependent champion anymore, but suddenly he is a champion that's good against everyone. And my cat goes crazy again. I don't know what's wrong with you. You just got food, you just got water, I just played with you. Why are you jumping up and down like an absolute maniac? Ah, she's chasing a fly. That explains a lot. Anyway, the typical build for jungle is still Nash's Tooth for farming. Again, highly experimental. I don't think this is good at all, but I don't think any AP Mordekaiser jungle build is that good. If you really want to be giga crazy, you can obviously go for Boots of Mana for giga damage. And then you have other item options, grant you even more damage, because now with Boots of Mana, your Nash's Tooth will deal even more damage. And then afterwards, for example, if you want the most annoying damage possible, to add more pen to your mix, you go for this little item, then you go for... I don't think you survive with this one, though. Like, you will never ever survive with this one. I refuse to believe it. Then you complete... I think this is a very decent choice for Mordekaiser, for having more spells. If that isn't a problem, then you just go for this. Now afterwards, what other items do you need on this champion? Most definitely Riftmaker, but it's probably earlier here, and then you have Liandry. The issue is this build is, yeah, it looks funny on paper because you'll hit fast, like you see, you'll hit decently fast, and deal a good amount of damage, but yeah, you are paper. You are indeed paper. But yeah, now we'll take a look at the Chinese gameplay of this champion, to give you more information about everything possible. And yeah, let's hop into it. As promised, we're in the video, we are playing Mordekaiser into Darius in top lane. We see a Resolve first tree as expected, into a defensive boots and Riftmaker. The earlier part of this video was made without looking at any of other people's gameplay, and it's just very interesting to see the spacing and overall damage, the range, the level up on level 2, and then the rundown onto the Darius. But we see the passive is not really doing that much of work during the early game. Like, the Darius was inside there for eons, and he didn't really take damage. It was a close one. Good turn, but now take a good look at the passive damage. And he gets the kill. So he started with a ruby crystal, as we see, since he's able to purchase the plated steel caps, just 2 broken in top lane, mandatory for you to survive. And then next up, like, if we take a look at about the runes and question ourselves, why does he have the runes? So brutal for early game power, the nullifying orb to survive more on low HP. You could also debate going for Courage of the Colossus for your 3rd ability, but it's not really reliable. And we have the Overgrowth. But you see, he doesn't really have that, like... It seems so low damage on his passive. But the trading is very powerful. Is not able to hold the wave here. Was a little bit too massive, the wave. Gets a lot of free EXP here, though. And soon is level 5. Okay, the monkey is up here. Free EXP for the Mordekaiser. And just need to be mindful not to constantly stack the passive. Because if the passive is overstacked, you'll automatically push. And that's something he doesn't really want to. And the Darius needs to be mindful. He's just waiting up there for the zone to turn. Yeah, he sadly was caught in between timings. But he was just waiting for the zone to turn bright, so he knows he's picking it up. And then he would just turn on him. But yeah, didn't work out as expected. Ooh, Darius loses the cannon, that's big. And with boots, you seem so fast. Second ability makes you pretty tanky, and since you gain such cooldown on it, I wonder if you're just not gonna put any points into the second ability and just leave 1 point in there, and then fully invest into your second ability for more shielding, more trades, etc. But the question is, like, you gain 2 seconds of cooldown on your pull every single time you invest a point, so it's pretty big as well. Yeah, into the basement you go. And we are back for life. Brutal is just such a broken laning rune. Maybe it's simply just brutal for Mordekaiser top. Even though it sounds so troll, because are you really auto-attacking that much? But in top lane, I guess you are. As per usual, check out that channel description below. Great content that they're providing us with every single time. Very thankful to them. So you can see how the Chinese region, the only really alive region in WildRift, is actually playing all the craziness and stuff. My man Darius, that is something you really don't want to. But there's just no way Darius has a chance as of this point, right? He just gets stat checked. He is investing points into this third. Like, these trades take so long. I mean, Darius also has mercs if you take a look at his magic, he has 82. So he's definitely not taking too much damage from this Mordekaiser. He swoops him away while, like, using his E really good. Making sure he doesn't get ran down, because it depends on where you're facing. Getting ghosted down, ultimate is being popped, stats are being stolen. And he just kills him. Yeah, like, I don't think, as a non-divine user, that your life is good against Mordekaiser. I think any champion that wins against him must be a divine user. It's just too much. It is simply too much. And if you've watched the video before, where I just debated about builds, before settling on other builds, where I just, like, thought out loud, you know? You see, there's two items that you must have on Mordekaiser. It's just Leandris is too Riftmaker is too good, and Leandris also seems way too good on this champion. The reason is the moment he really tried nicely to pull him back, but yeah, he's just too tanky. He just pops the second ability, mitigates all the burn damage. Ooh, didn't give him the reset here, and now he's just walking up with the zone thing and annoys the guy. Playing around the passive all the time. Scorpion being picked up, but I really do wonder, like, as the meta or the game progresses, if we really are not going to see more second ability maxes on this champion. That hits, that is a little bit cooked, no? Bonk. And into the basement he goes, away from the plant. Ooh. The isolated damage of this. Oh, that was so close. Does he burn to death? He does. It's a big W for the man. Okay, let's always skip the parts where there's downtime, so we don't feel too bad. It's a massive level disadvantage. I mean, Darius just gave up. Yeah, he just gave up. Or he's lagging. Could be both. It's WildRift after all, you know? But so far, have you seen a lot of Darius? And if so, how did he perform in your games? What is bro doing? He's really angry, and the worst thing is this might actually work. So is the second ability available? Oh my god, nice! He just completely played him. Darius is 2 levels down. But thanks to hooking into the tower, he just dealt so much damage and got to the 5-stack dream so fast that he actually had a chance at winning. If Mordekaiser's second ability wasn't so enormous with the shield, it would have been a really bad moment. Yeah, but Mordekaiser seems like one of these champions where if the game progresses too far, well, you have to get anti-shielding into this champion. Because it might just be too much. A red and sword coming in. Big wave. Vladimir is trying to play with the dragon. But now the big guy with the club turns up and puts you into the prison. Hex skating up top, barely losing any time, and will be back to deny the Darius some gold with the tower. I hate hex skates. What I really want to see is a teamfight scenario, and where in which he's able to run around, yeah, and apply Leandris to multiple people, which then obviously will allow you to have an extended period of time on your Riftmaker. And now, like, this is one of these scenarios. He just avoided the Darius, so the bleeding stacks will disappear as he's in the dungeon. And now the Darius has to restack again from 0. Oh my god, he nearly mistimed that one, but you see the second wind popping off Gigahard, and now he will have a fully completed Leandris Torment. Well, Leandris Torment now, his damage should be so much higher as well, and he also chose to buy tier 1 anti-healing, but not the armor one, but the AP one. Gargal also looking like a pretty good enchant on this champion. I wonder how wrong or right I'll turn out to be. I want to test the Heartsteel version into a tank champion top, because I'm really interested in seeing how good it is. Because you should just get away with it for free. You should automatically win into tanks regardless. And with the power of Heartsteel, you scale even harder for the rest of the map, making it so much more difficult for the enemy to do something for you, or to you. Because if you're inside of all of them, while being so tanky, the uptime you'll have while fighting them will be so insanely high, which will then allow you to deal so much extra damage. Nice Q flash here, by the way. And I think for WildRift, Rylai's will have a giga low value compared to the PC version. simply because of how fast the game is and how unreliable and weak Rylai's is as an item. It doesn't even give you percentage pen. And Morde's percentage pen on the passive is already weak. It's only 7%. It's like another item. The Darius. Oh, the monkey kick. Ooh, now we have the big fight we were talking about. He doesn't have ultimate ability available. Has a big second ability, but that's just too much. But the burn effect was quite insane. Like, he had a lot of damage. Now he has Ravidon. Let's skip forward to him being alive again. Gets the passive fully stacked onto the Darius, puts the ult down so he's only fighting one guy. Darius is playing for time, gets off the ultimate, nearly kills the Mordekaiser. You see, Darius is such an overstat champion as well. Like, the damage is insane this champion does. Oh, nearly pulled into the prison. Swain backing off here. We still have the bonus stats from the Darius, but we're still not the tankiest among them all. Not having Amaranth really showcases you how much weaker you are. Like, you might have a lot of HP, but these HP are not really like very high effective HP because you don't have any resistances. Without resistances, it just looks so much more grim. Okay, we are in this fight scenario. He's looking for an ult target. What happens when you ult the Wukong clone? Two drain tanks against each other. He's getting closer. Has second ability available again. Oh, he didn't get it off. But again, his Leandris must have dealt so much damage. Oh, he already skipped. Swain popping the ultimate, pro-belting forward to get closer to the AD carry. Ouch. That was nearly a one-tap. Yeah, the burning effect is indeed going crazy. The shield is like roughly a third of your HP bar. But now the Vladimir is here and he just has too much damage and just die instantly. Like, no resistances. You might deal a lot of damage, but no resistances feel so bad on this champion. You really do be needing resistances or it's a Jover angle. Vladimir was pulled into the dungeon and nearly won this one. The sustain is insane though. Shield is up again, avoids the outer edge of the Darius Q. Now runs after the 80. In all honesty, that Riftmaker bonk was based. Shield is coming up. Drain tank scenario, drain tank team. The dream, not team. And now we go over into game 2. And here we have a slight build adaptation. We see a decent amount of physical damage on the enemy team. And changes in the last items as well as the first item, first runes. We still have Brutal. This time Alacrity. Last Stand, not a fan of the Last Stand rune. I think it's pretty bad. And second win just the most broken rune in top lane. Darius pulling you back, but this... Is Darius actually getting stat checked early game by Mordekaiser? I mean, Darius is not really a champion level 1, level 2, like level 1. But is Mordekaiser really more of a champion? That looked very interesting. Played the Steel Caps as expected, just gotten back again. Now let's see how the stat check actually happens to work out for him. Gets the fully like many other champions could have just been ran down by Darius there, especially since he was mini. A lot of auto edges being hit, pulls him back, throws him away. Pretty decent disengage tool into the Darius. And you see the passive, it's not really that high damage, but it's more about the movement speed, no? Like, if you rush boots, since in WildRift the meta is just rushing boots, having this bonus movement speed, I think it's pretty insane, no? Because if you think, like, he can also stack on this little scorpion there, if I'm not mistaken. That was really close. That's why everyone hates ganking Darius. Because if he hits level 5 and gets the dunking going, you might just get insta one tap. Because all he has to do is kill one, then he gets 5 stack reset into just auto tech ulting you on the spot, and you fall into the trap and you're basically gone. Picks up the best item in the game, Ruby Crystal, into a Fiendish Codex. The best components of the Rift Maker, because Ruby Crystal is just flat up health, really the most broken tank stat early game, and ability haste and AP is pretty good to have on one item too. The hashtag alternator is not really doing anything for you, it's just a tiny bit of extra damage, but for these Giga Chonkers, it doesn't really make a difference. Gets the passive pop relatively early, doesn't avoid the outer edge of the Darius. Darius is getting small again, it's the tiny Darius. Zooming around just too fast, steps into the X this time, doesn't give him the double stacks here for free, and now we have a fight. Will he win against the overstat Darius? No, he mistimes the second ability, therefore takes too much damage. Okay, but the trade pattern usually is you use your second ability on Mordekaiser against the Darius ult, because the big chunk of damage incoming will be the Darius ult and it will completely consume your shield, and you obviously want the maximum value of the shield compared to the mitigated form of healing. Turns around, Darius will burn to death here with the combo, Vi ults as well, but the question is, will the Vi have enough damage? Most certainly, right? Yeah, the third auto attack is just too much, Vi just has too much damage. And we get a free pickup. Meanwhile, the team, let me skip forward again, so we don't have to wait too long. Nice try with the pullback, throw him away. Decent chunk of healing. Couldn't avoid the auto edge of it again. The bleeding is doing a decent amount of damage. And I think you should never reactivate your second ability if you still have the bleeding on you. No, because you rather want to have the additional shielding being consumed by the damage rather than taking HP damage. Second level on ult being achieved, it's only a cooldown reduction though, so it doesn't really make a difference towards the relative power level also of the base stats of your champion. Which is kind of weird, because some champions like feel very, like, it doesn't feel too well having an ultimate ability only scaling cooldown, not in damage. He just bonked that guy to death and he doesn't even have Rift Maker yet completed. But soon he shall, oh my god, he just wins the lottery. He gets the turret. Look at this blasting turret. Gets it for free. So much free money for the man. And even gets the Scorpion. But the Scorpion will ruin the next wave. So he has to stay, yes. He has to stay. One of the lessons of the top lane. No, he can't be that in time anyway. The Scorpion can make or break your lane. So you have to be really wary of what is happening. He goes for Proto Belt again. It's the second one I saw go Proto Belt over anything else, even though I think like if the enemy team has like certain champions, Gargoyle is so broken. Okay, Vi, are you good? Oh my god. He's running. The Protobelt Escape Artist. Picks up the mimics, but sadly doesn't make it in time to place them to get the platings. Pulls the guy back in. Gets... Did he get hit by the auto edge? Pops the ultimate. Avoids the auto edge, but yeah, this guy is just gonna run away. No, he gets pulled back in. Oh my god, this Darius is fumbling the bag. Ignite falling down. Free kill being picked up. Vi can't save him in time. Will he get pulled back? She does. Oh no. The anger towards the Darius will be insane. So much money into the hands of the Mordekaiser. He just has too much money now. Also interesting to see that we don't see a psychic projector on the two Mordekaisers we've seen so far. I wonder like how much longer it will take for builds to develop into a more tanky way. Nice flash by the Akali, otherwise she would have died. So we have Leandri's Riftmaker defensive boots with Protobelt. What are we going to see next? Like, I think side he will always win. I guess there's no questions asked. He will just always win side. But the question is, can his team win without him? They have the champions to be like a crazy teamfight setup. But will they play together is a question. Alistair headbutts away. People are dying left and right like flies. Maokai grabs the 900 gold shot down into his tree pockets. Just bark. And his team won without him being here. Now, oh, Akali, please run. I've seen this play out 90 billion times, and it always ends with the Akali dying and giving away 15 billion gold. Yeah, great. You got to kill, brother. You got to kill. I'm proud of you. But you die, and you away 800 gold plus the assist gold for zero reason. But hopefully it was fun. I mean, I do this myself because sometimes you just have to go to get some little dopamine out of this game. That was a big combo onto the Caitlyn. Does he reach Q flashes into the backline? Gets hooked by the Darius hookshot. Not hookshot. I forgot the name. God damn. I actually forgot the name of the ability. It's over. We just skip and pretend. Okay, we're back. His team is encountering some unforeseen accidents over and over again. Akali with the combo onto the Aurelia completely decimates the Aurelia. The items of the Akali are too powerful for the game state, and the Mordekaiser will not be able to change the outcome right now of any fight. He really needs to find a spot where he can either take out the most valuable carry of the enemy team by pressing ult on them, or be in a fight and actually be able to be the difference maker in a fight, which is unlikely to be, because he can't protect anyone outside of ulting someone. Big damage coming through. The Vi is trying to play Houdini. Enemy team popping up in their entirety. He gets denied here, but the Alistair is not able to close the gap fast enough. He will survive thanks to the power of the fruit, but the Maokai was there with the oh no, Aurelia flash ults onto the tank, didn't get a reset, gets a stun though, so her cooldown comes up relatively early anyway. Alistair is about to die. The Maokai with the Q flash, a little bit delayed. Maokai another CC onto the Akali. It's a tree against an assassin, but the tree just stands stronger. Look at him, just stun CC. Support, by the way, is the support gap. Yeah, support champion, by the way. And now he's thinking about going more armor. They're killing the Vi, they're securing the Baron. Isn't Akali not also a problem? Wouldn't you not just like to get Amaranth so you have resistances against both parties? And Aranduin's Omen slows attack speed on hit, yes, but it only is helpful granting you these determination stacks that are converted into HP if you hit someone, if the enemy crits. To my knowledge, the interaction works with Divine, with Thunder Sky. But that's it. I don't know how it works with some other other abilities with Infinity Orb, but I know it works for some reason on Garen E, like the swirly boy. As you see, he was just in the prison, taking the 80 Gary hostage to make himself survive. And so far, from the games we've seen, Mordekaiser seemed pretty good into Darius. But we haven't seen a Divine game yet. And with that, we're at the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Please come back for more, leave a comment, and just make sure to enjoy WildRift as it is. Don't try too hard to just make things work, just simply don't. Play for fun, enjoy your time, and make sure to leave a comment so the video gets more exposure. And we'll see you for more content very soon. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.